Good day everyone! My name is Mariel Perez from BS Ed 1D and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to do a book review of the longest epic poem of the world entitled Mahabharata. The order of the presentation will be like this. Let's start with the author's background and then summary. Third, I will give some comments about the plot, followed by the comparison and contrast to other books, predictions while reading it, and then I will end with my conclusion. Are you ready? Let us proceed with a book review of Mahabharata. The Mahabharata is a literary treasure of India and one of the two Sanskrit epic poems of ancient India. The other one is Ramayana. The Mahabharata is said to be an important source of information on the development of Hinduism. It is the longest epic poem in the world and composed by a rishi named Krishna Dwapayana and also known as Vyasa several thousand years ago. Others said that Vyasa is a Hindu sage or what we call saint. For the summary, Mahabharata was originally composed in the ancient language of Sanskrit sometime between 400 BC and 400 AD. It is set in a legendary era thought to correspond to the period of Indian culture and history in approximately the 10th century BC. It tells about the Great War between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Battle of Mahabharata, which was fought at Kurukshetra, involved the Aryan kings of almost the entire of India. According to the story of Mahabharata, King Shantanu of the Lunar dynasty ruled over Hastinapur. It is a territory lying between river Ganges and Jamuna. King Shantanu had two sons named Bhishma and Vichitravirya. As Bhishma remained unmarried, Vichitravirya became the king. Vichitravirya had two sons, Pandus and Dhritarashtra. Since Dhritarashtra was blind by birth, Pandu became the king. Pandu had 5 sons who were known as Pandavas. Dhritarashtra, on the other hand, had 100 sons and they were known as Kurus or Kaurava. After the death of Pandu, his brother, Dhritarashtra became the king. He was a benign or a kind and gentle ruler and took good care of his nephews and provided them good education. But the sons of Dhritarashtra, particularly his eldest son Duryodhana, was jealous of them. He conspired and managed to exile the Pandavas, his cousins, who settled down near Delhi and found a new capital in Indraprastha because according to the story, the king gave half of the kingdom to the Kauravas and the other half to the Pandavas. Meanwhile, Arjuna, one of the Pandavas, won Draupadi, the princess of Panchaldesha, as a result of Swayamvara. Swayamvara in the ancient India was a practice in which a girl of marriageable age chose a husband from a group of suitors. Duryodhana was still jealous of Pandavas, invited them to his kingdom to a game of dice. In the course of the game, Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, lost everything including Draupadi. Draupadi became the wife of Pandava. As a result, once again, the Pandavas were sent on exile for 13 years, 12 years in the forest, and the other 1 year without anyone recognizing them. If they fail, there will be another 12 more years of exile. After completing the term of their exile, the Pandavas went to Matsya, the kingdom of King Virata. They disguised and worked at the palace, but something happened that Bhima, one of the Pandavas, killed Kichaka. Kichaka is the brother-in-law of the king, King Virata. The rumor reached the Kauravas and suspected Bhima because according to them, Bhima is the strongest in the Pandavas. A lot has happened, but Pandavas soon claimed their kingdom from the Kauravas. However, Duryodhana refused to return the kingdom, and this ultimately resulted in the Battle of Mahabharata, which lasted for 18 days. It is said that at first Arjuna was one of the Pandavas hesitated to fight against his own kith and kins. At this juncture, Krishna is known as Bhumipitra, son of the earth or a god. His ally gave him the divine message. As a result, Arjuna took up arms and fought bravely. In this battle, an unprecedented slaughter of men took place and all the Kurus were killed. Then Yudhishthira became the king. After some time, the 5 Pandavas retired to the Himalayas and handed over the kingdom to King Parikshit, the grandson of Arjuna. It may be noticed that besides the main story mentioned, Mahabharata contains a number of other mythical and legendary stories as well. Every character in the epic is born into a particular social group that must follow the duty prescribed to it by their what we call sacred law. The characters who perform their sacred duty are rewarded, while those who do not are punished. And I did some research about this book. It is said that Mahabharata actually happened and completely real. However, Mahabharata, in its simplest form, can teach our children between good and bad. And it is indeed one of the great books in the world. As I mentioned earlier, Mahabharata is one of the 2 Sanskrit epic poems of ancient India. The other one is Ramayana. The similarities of these 2 books are, first, Hindu gods appear in both stories, and second, these books are 2 spiritual guides intrinsic to the Hindu way of life. Third, both of these are the earliest forms of epic poem. And fourth, both are the basis of valuable teachings that Hindu live by even today. But they also show differences like their dates of composition, authors, characters, and verses. Ramayana contains 24,000 verses, while Mahabharata is considered the longest poem ever written because it contains 100,000 verses. And fun fact, Mahabharata has gained the entry into the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest poem in the world. To summarize, every parallel in Mahabharata and Ramayana has a lesson to teach us regardless of our differences in religious beliefs. While reading the book, I thought that the Pandavas were evil, but it was the Kauravas. And also during the game of dice, if you will recall, it is to take the Indraprastha from the Pandavas. I thought that Draupadi will be taken by them and only the Pandavas would receive the exile, but thanks to Krishna, it didn't happen. And I also thought that after the 12 years of the exile, the other 1 year would be the challenging part for them. For the conclusion, the epic narrative of Mahabharata had been written ages ago, yet the legendary tale continues to find the prominence in every form of art and continues to overwhelm us even today. After reading Mahabharata, I've learned that human society is full of fraud, dishonest, and jealous people. They spoil their lives as well as those of others, but at last, it is the honesty and morality which triumph the battle. No matter how much difficulties are there in life, your duty and goal should never be ignored. You may be deviate from your goal at times, but think once again what you are doing and what you should do. Then you will realize the truth. Be someone with moral values, but never be so simple that the evil kills your conscience. Never forget what others have done to you. It is okay to forgive them, but never repeat that mistake again. But despite of these moral lessons that I've learned, what really marked in my mind is this: stand by what's right and fight for it. Arjuna was initially hesitant to wage war against his kin, but Krishna reminded him that one has to stand by Dharma, even if it meant going against one's own family. Therefore, Arjuna had to fulfill his responsibility as a great warrior of Dharma. At last, Mahabharata has many values. As deep as you go, the more you learn. Once again, my name is Mariel Perez from BS Ed 20 and thank you for watching!